Did you know that the British originally came as a small trading company and later they established their territory in India? Yes, dear children, in today's class, let us learn about from trade to territory. This is your second unit in the history part of your social science subject. From trade to territory. From From trade to territory, how the company establishes power. Let us know about this. Aurangzeb was the last of the powerful Mughal rulers, and he established control over a very large part of the territory of India. Aurangzeb was the last of the powerful Mughal rulers. He established control over a very large part of the territory that is now known as India. Aurangzeb was the last ruler. He was the last powerful king of Mughal dynasty, and during his era he established control over a large part of the territory. He was a very powerful Mughal ruler and he established his control over a large part of the territory which is now called as or which is now known as India. Means during his time he established control over India. And after his death in 1707, many Mughal governors, means Subedars and big Zamindars, began asserting their authority and establishing regional kingdoms. So what happened after the death of Aurangzeb, means during the time of 1707, many Mughal governors, means Subedars and big Zamindars, means landlords, began to start their authority, and hence they establishing their own regional kingdoms. Before that, Mughal Empire was one of the powerful kingdom, and it has extended for a large part of the territory. But after the death of Aurangzeb, means during the time of 1707, many Mughal governors, means Subedars, who were in the highest positions, as well as the Zamindars, means landlords, they began their own authority and hence they established regional kingdoms. As powerful regional kingdoms emerged in various parts of India, Delhi could no longer function as an effective center. Delhi was one of the effective center, and it was the main center during the rule of Mughal rulers. But after the decline of Mughal dynasty, regional kingdoms were established by the Mughal governors as well as Zamindars. During their time, Delhi couldn't be no longer function as the main center or as an effective center during their rule. By the second half of the 18th century, however, a new power was emerging on the political horizon, that is the British. What happened? By the second half of the 18th century. Before that, Mughal rulers ruled over there and they established their control or they established their supremacy in the region of India, and later regional kingdoms were established by Mughal governors as well as Zamindars. But by the second half of the 18th century, a new power was emerged on the political horizon, that is the British. The British originally came as a small trading company to India, and they acquired territories as well as they established their strong political horizon in India. Let us know about how East India Company comes to East and established their rule. In 1600, the East India Company acquired a charter from the ruler of England, Queen Elizabeth I, granting it the sole right to trade with the East. This meant that no other trading group in England could compete with the East India Company. What happened? In the year 1600, the East India Company established their rule in India, or the East India Company started in India in the year 1600. In 1600, the East India Company acquired a rule in India through the charter from the ruler of England called Elizabeth I, Queen Elizabeth I. She was the ruler of England during that time. So East India Company acquired a charter, a permission from Queen Elizabeth I from England, and granting it the sole right to trade with the East. So Queen Elizabeth I granted a charter for East India Company that they have to the right and they have a sole right to trade with the East. Hence, from West they came to East to establish their trade, or they established their trading supremacy over India. This means that no other trading group in England could compete with the East India Company. As per the charter of the ruler of England, Queen Elizabeth I, they have the East India Company comes to emerged to India for the trading purpose, and no other trading group in England could compete with the East India Company as per the charter of Queen Elizabeth I. Hence, they arrived from East to establish their rule in the Indian regions by establishing their own name as East India Company in the year 1600. Mercantile trading companies in those days made profit primarily by excluding competition so that they could buy cheap and sell higher. With the charter of Queen Elizabeth I, East India Company could venture across the oceans, and they looking for new land from which it could buy goods at a cheap price. And the company didn't have to fear competition from other English trading companies. Why? Because no other trading group in England could compete with the East India Company as per the charter of Queen Elizabeth I. During that time, mercantile trading companies made profit primarily by excluding competition so that they could buy cheap and sell for it higher. Mercantile means a business or enterprise that makes profit primarily through trade, buying goods cheap and selling them at higher prices. Mercantile means a business or enterprise which make profit primarily through the trade, means buying goods at cheap rate and selling them at higher prices. Buying goods at cheap price and selling them at higher price through the trade, and their main motive is making profit. This kind of business or enterprise is called as mercantile. So the East India Company found a new idea to gain profit is mercantile trading. So mercantile trading companies, means East India Company in those days made profit primarily by excluding competition, so that they could buy goods or products at cheap rate, and hence they will sell those goods at higher prices. The Royal Charter, however, couldn't prevent other European powers from entering the eastern markets. And by the time the first English ships sailed down the west coast of Africa, round the Cape of Good Hope, and crossed the Indian Ocean. What happened? According to the Royal Charter of Queen Elizabeth I, other European trading companies couldn't enter into the trading process in India. So, however, other European powers from entering the eastern markets couldn't prevent. And by the time the first English ships sailed down the west coast of Africa, so English ship for the first time sailed from the west coast of Africa, and that round the Cape of Good Hope, and later that crossed the Indian Ocean. The Portuguese had already established their presence in the western coast of India, and they are based in Goa. In fact, it was Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer who had discovered the sea route to India in 1498. For the first time among the Europeans, Portuguese sailed to India for the first time. In fact, it was Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer or sailor who had discovered the sea route to India in the year 1498. Vasco da Gama discovered the new sea route to India. For the first time, he reached a place called Calicut. By the early 17th century, the Dutch too were exploring the possibilities of trade in Indian Ocean. Soon, the French traders arrived on the scene. Not only the English who tried to reach or try to cross the Indian Ocean, even the Portuguese were the first among who reached India, and later other Europeans like Dutch, they were also exploring the possibilities to trade in Indian Ocean, as well as later French traders were also arrived on the scene. The problem was that all the companies were interested in buying the same things. The fine qualities of cotton and silk produced in India had a big market in Europe. Pepper, cloves, cardamom, and cinnamon too were in great demand. What happened? The problem was that all the companies, like it may be the English companies, Portuguese companies, as well as Dutch and French companies, all these companies were interested in buying the same things in the Indian Ocean, means in India and other territories or other parts in the east. The fine qualities of cotton and even silk products in India had a big market in Europe. In Europe, Indian products like cotton and silk were had a big market, and even these spicy items like pepper, cloves, cardamom, and cinnamon too were had a great demand in the Europe market, and competition among the European companies inevitably pushed up the prices at which these goods could be purchased, and this reduced the profits that could be earned. What happened? Competition had been arrived between the European companies like English and even the French, Portuguese, and Dutch in the European market, and that inevitably pushed up the prices at which these goods could be purchased, and this reduced the profits that could be earned. So competition arises among the European companies, and that led to the heavy purchase of goods among them, and that reduced the profit which they could be earned in the England market. And the only way of trading companies could flourish was by eliminating rival competitors. So otherwise it can't be possible to gain profit among them, and the urge to secure markets therefore led to fierce battles between the trading companies. So, among the European companies, the competition was increased, and profit that what they could be earned was reduced, and that led to the rivalry among them. That led to the rival competitors among them, hence that resulted between them in the form of fierce battle in the trading companies. The rivalry among the European trading companies led to some more actions, like they regularly sank each other's ships and they blockaded the routes which reached to India, and even they prevented rival ships from moving with supplies of goods and all. That led to the rivalry among them, and trade was carried on with arms, and trading posts were protected through fortification. And this effort to fortify settlements and carry on profitable trade also led to conflict with local rulers. So what happened? Trade was carried on with arms, and trading posts were protected through fortification. Means they started to carry with arms, means with weapons, and even trading posts were protected through fortification. And this effort to fortify settlements and that carry on profitable trade also led to intense conflict with the local rulers. Not only the European trading companies have a conflict among them, their act of fortification and their act of fortified settlements in India, and that fortification of settlements which carry on profitable trade in India, that led to the intense conflict with the local rulers who were carrying trade or who were established their rules in India. and the company therefore found it difficult to separate trade from politics. Hence, these trading companies therefore found it difficult to separate trade from politics, because some of the local rulers were also, they were strong and powerful, and they were also carrying profitable trade in India. Hence, the English companies or trading companies felt that it was very difficult to them to separate trade from politics, from the local rulers as well. Let us recall today's highlights in this chapter. Aurangzeb was the last of the powerful Mughal rulers, and he established control over a very large part of the territory. Aurangzeb was the last powerful Mughal rulers in Mughal dynasty, and after the decline of his rule, Delhi was not at all become an important or effective center. And by the second half of the 18th century, however, a new power was emerging on the political horizon, that is the British. The British arrived to India as a political horizon during that time, by the second half of the 18th century, after the decline of the Mughal rule in India. And East India Company. East India Company comes east in the year 1600, and in 1600, the East India Company acquired a charter from the ruler of England, that is Queen Elizabeth I, and granting it the sole right to trade with the East. Means Queen Elizabeth I, ruler of England, granted a charter. According to that charter, the East India Company has the right to trade with the East, and this means that no other trading group in England could compete with the East India Company. Mercantile trading companies in those days made profit primarily by excluding competition so that they could buy cheap and sell higher. Mercantile trading companies in those days made profit primarily through the trading process, and that excluding competition. Mercantile means is a business or enterprise that makes profit primarily through trade, buying goods at cheap rate and selling them at higher prices. In fact, it was Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese explorer, who had discovered sea route to India in the year 1498. So among the Europeans, Portuguese were the first who travelled or sailed to India. Later, the English as well as the Dutch and even the French also made an attempt to travel to the Indian Ocean, and they arrived to India for the trading purpose. The fine qualities of cotton and even the silk produced in India has a big market in Europe, and even the spicy items like pepper, cloves and cardamom and cinnamon too were in great demand in the European market during that time. In Europe, in the market, the Indian spicy items like pepper, cloves, cardamom and cinnamon, and even the fine qualities of cotton and silk also had a great demand in the Europe market. And competition arose between the European trading companies, and competition among the European companies inevitably pushed up the prices at which these goods could be purchased, and this reduced the profits that could be earned. Competition pushed up between the European trading companies, hence goods could be purchased at a higher level and the profit could be earned, and the profit could be reduced during that time because of the competition among them. And trade was carried on with arms, and trading posts were protected through fortification. Rivalry was arised between those trading companies. Hence, trade was carried on with the arms, means with the weapons, and even some of the trading posts were protected through the fortification. And this effort to fortify settlements and carry on profitable trade also led to conflict with local rulers. The fortification among or by the European traders or trading companies was led to the conflict with the local rulers who were in India. And finally, the company therefore found it difficult to separate trade from politics. So they had to be enter with the politics for carrying the trade, otherwise it was impossible to them to carry the trade without politics among the local rulers. Hence, the company therefore found it is necessary them to separate trade from the politics. This is all about today's class. Yes, dear children, I hope you understood today's class. Thank you.